You ever wonder what it really takes to build a myth? I'm not talking about an ancient one, but a modern one. A myth so powerful it tries to rewrite all of human history. Today, look, we're not here to debate whether aliens built the pyramids. Nope. Instead, we're going to look at the master craftsmanship behind one of the most compelling alternative histories ever created, the Anunnaki theory. And it all starts in a place you would never, ever expect.
So get this. That wasn't some guy on a late-night talk show. That was a government official at a press conference claiming that the ancient Sumerians built a spaceport for aliens. So you have to ask, how does an idea like that go from the absolute fringe to a government podium? Well, to figure that out, we have to go back to the source.
To answer that question, we have to meet the architect of this whole thing, a man named Zecharia Sitchin. Back in 1976, he published a book that didn't just suggest alien contact, oh no. It laid out a complete, totally alternative history of planet Earth, a detailed blueprint for an entirely new belief system.
And what a blueprint it was. I mean, Sitchin's story is this sweeping epic. It starts with aliens, the Anunnaki, who come here from a planet called Nibiru because they need gold. To do all the hard labor, they create us, Homo sapiens, as a worker species. And the story has everything. There's a great flood, gods rebelling against each other, even a prehistoric nuclear war. This wasn't some vague, fuzzy theory. It was a detailed, structured story. So how on earth did he make this incredible story sound believable? Well, Sitchin's first move was absolutely crucial. He didn't write it like a fantasy novel. He built what looked and felt like a serious academic argument in his book series, The Earth Chronicles.
First, he started by building up his own authority. He claimed he was one of the very few people on Earth who could actually read ancient Sumerian. He used this very serious, almost clinical tone, not like other fringe writers. And his books, they were packed with footnotes, bibliographies. They had the look of real science. And here's the key. He layered all his wild claims on top of a foundation of real, verifiable history, which made the whole thing much harder to just brush off. Okay, so once he'd established this kind of academic credibility, Sitchin could get to his real work. He basically opened up this unique toolkit designed to reinterpret history itself. And this, right here, is where you see the real magic of his technique. His entire argument, the whole thing, really hinged on one core skill: finding hidden technological meanings in ancient texts and art that supposedly mainstream academics had just totally missed. He was essentially treating ancient history like a secret code that only he had the key to. So for example, he'd take a cuneiform sign, like the one for Mu, and claim its original shape wasn't just a symbol, it was actually a picture of a rocket ship. Or he'd take the Sumerian word for God, dingir, and break it into two parts, din and gir, and then just redefine them to mean the pure ones of the blazing rockets. It's brilliant, right? He was turning ancient language into a puzzle for finding spaceships. And he did the exact same thing with art. He'd point to a shape on an ancient seal, something historians might see as, a banner or a religious symbol, and he'd just declare, the seal clearly depicts a rocket ship propelled by flames. He presented it with so much confidence that a lot of his readers just trusted his expert eye over their own. But after building this really complex scientific case, Sitchin did something totally different. He pulled out a second toolkit, one that wasn't designed for your analytical mind, but for your spiritual heart. He released a book called The Lost Book of Enki. Now, this wasn't another book full of research and footnotes. No, this was presented as the real thing, a direct translation of the memoirs of Enki, the Anunnaki god who supposedly created us. He completely shifted from academic argument to this immersive first-person story. And this book contained a really powerful recipe for belief. First, the story is told by Enki himself, an eyewitness, which makes it feel completely real. Second, it's framed as a teaching session. The wise god Enki is our teacher. And finally, the text explicitly says it was written for a destined future generation to find. It's basically telling the reader, hey, this sacred knowledge was meant just for you. So what happened when Sitchin used these two completely different approaches, the scientific one and the sacred one? Well, he basically created two different doorways into his world.
And this two-pronged attack was just brilliant. The 12th planet, with its scientific feel, was perfect for skeptical, analytical people looking for evidence. But the Lost Book of Enki, that appealed to spiritual seekers through pure emotional storytelling. One book made you think, this is a plausible theory. The other one made you feel, wow, this is the truth. And the impact was just profound. I mean, just look at this actual online review for The Lost Book of Enki. You almost never see this kind of passionate, faith-based reaction for the 12th planet. Sitchin's story had become, for some people, a brand new sacred text, more real and even more important than the Bible.
So here's the bottom line. Zecharia Sitchin was a master craftsman of belief. He used the tools of a scientist to build intellectual credibility, and many used the tools of a prophet to forge this deep spiritual connection. And by doing both, he built a myth that could appeal to almost anyone, from the hardcore skeptic to the true believer. And it leaves us with this fascinating question. It's not just about facts or evidence, is it? It's about storytelling and authority and fulfilling this deep human need for answers. What is it that makes a story powerful enough to become someone's truth?